Hey guys, so this is definitely my most overdue wrap-up, but I figured better late than never. I actually was gonna skip doing a wrap-up for the month of August, but then I was looking through the books that I read in the month of August, and I read a little bit in August, so I figured I would share it anyways, even though I am 20 days late in getting this video up. If you're wondering where I have been, I did mention in my last video that I was going on a trip and it would be out for a little while, but then the hurricane came and that was a big deal. Just life has been happening, so yeah, there's just been a lot going on lately, so I haven't even this month really read anything. It's just been so busy. You'll find out all soon in the future, but for now, I'm just gonna leave it vague. The first book that I read in the month of August, and I can't believe that I read this book in the month of August, because this is a book that feels like I read so long ago, is Heartless by Marissa Meyer. Now, this book was amazing. I gave it either 4 or 5 stars, and it's a retelling of the Queen of Hearts. It kind of is her backstory before Alice in Wonderland, and why she became the way that she did, and I loved this fantasy story. I think that Marissa Meyer did an amazing job creating the world of Wonderland. It is exactly how I felt Wonderland should be, completely quirky. It's like fairy tales and bedtime stories come to life in a way that worked really well. Also, the cooking aspect of this book was fantastic. I wanted to eat so many delicious sweets because the Queen of Hearts is an avid baker, and I just really loved her story. It was obviously really heartbreaking at the end. As you can imagine, she does turn into the Queen of Hearts at the end, so seeing that whole process was just, like you knew something bad was gonna happen, but you hated that it was gonna happen along the way. The character development in this was just astounding. Like, character development into darkness, I should say, because she starts off this really sweet girl, has these dreams, and then you just see her kind of get chipped away by these events that happen, and oh my gosh, it's so good. I would really recommend, if you have been on the fence about reading Heartless, there is no reason you shouldn't read it. It is such a good standalone fantasy novel, I guess you could still call it that, but if you like retellings, if you like Alice in Wonderland, Queen of Hearts, anything like that, there is no reason you should not pick this book up. Next, I read The Secret Wife, and I believe this was by Gil Paul. This one I wasn't the biggest fan of. I think I gave it 3 stars or maybe something like 2 stars. This combines a historical fiction story with a modern day story, and the historical fiction story is of Princess Tatiana and her husband, but it's like a secret affair. No one knows they got married, and the bleakness in Russia during that time and the hardships for the family. So it's like this past love story with that historical element, and then it also flash forwards to a woman who finds out her husband is having an affair, and so she kind of just runs away to America. She lives in England, runs away to this lake house that she inherited, and she kind of works on rebuilding this house over the summer while she kind of discovers about this great-grandfather that she never knew anything about. So that may sound kind of complicated. I'm not always the best at summarizing books, but I just found this book didn't feel genuine. I feel like there was an attempt to create this really desperately sad situation with the Tatiana, and I even forget his name, but her husband, her secret love. But I just felt this distance and this disconnect from those characters. It just really felt sudden for me, their romance, and then they barely spend any time together, and just how much they loved each other. It just seemed kind of unreal to me, and it was actually rated really well on Amazon, so I was very excited to start it, but I didn't really end up liking it. I don't even know if I'd recommend it to anyone just because it was kind of boring. It just really fell flat for me. Next, I read Ready Player One by Ernest Cline with my husband Nathan. We both read it, so I'm not gonna say much about it because we're gonna actually do a full review for it next week or something like that. So I'm just gonna say we both really liked it, and if you want to hear more of our thoughts, just stay tuned for whenever that video goes up. I guess this is 4th. I read Everything by Nicola Yoon. I gave this book 4 stars. It's the contemporary book, and now it's a movie, which I actually did rent and see after, and I may do just a side-by-side comparison, but I really liked both the book and the movie. But it's just like a cute romance of this girl who is sick and she has to stay in her house for her whole life, and that is her life, and then she meets the neighbor next door and they fall in love, things like that. And it was really cute. I like the way this book was written. Super short read also. I did not know that before I got it, and then I heard everyone saying, oh, it was such a quick read, I read it in 2 hours. And let me tell you, you definitely could read this book very quickly. It's also cool how images are put into the book, and just the format of the book is a really fun read. It's hard to describe, but it's not just like text on a page. There are pictures that are put in there, and there are just different ways of writing and of illustrating certain things that the book is talking about. So definitely would encourage you to pick this book up. It was just a fun, quick read. The next book I read was also a contemporary, and that was When Dimple Met Rishi, and I've been wanting to read this since I heard all the reviews about it. For the most part, I heard really good things, that it was just a really cute kind of romance. I thought it was a cute romance as well, but I gave it 3 stars. I just didn't find it to be as cute, I think, as other people found it to be. It just kind of felt blah to me. The romance was okay, the storyline was okay, just everything about it was a little bit okay. So it wasn't my favorite book. I can't really say that there was anything really bad about the book. I just personally didn't really enjoy it. The final book that I read in the month of August, I actually got in Canada. It was at Chapters for $6, and it's Come Back to Me by Mila Gray. I think that's the author. So this book is, I don't know if it was new adult. It may have been new adult. It's like young adult, new adult combination or something, about this girl who falls in love with her brother's best friend, except her brother's best friend is in some form of the military, basically. The story is just about their relationship. There are a lot of hardships in this book, but overall I found it to just be a really good book. I was completely addicted to it. I mean, I was reading it on the plane, and I get tired very easily, and it was nighttime, and I read it the whole plane ride home from Canada. If you just want a really fast-paced, like intense, emotional kind of read, I would definitely encourage this one. I just really liked it, and I guess there's a sequel out, which I definitely will be reading soon. My cousin and I both got this book together because when we looked at the cover, it just reminded us of The Notebook, and so we were kind of hoping that we would get these Notebook vibes from it, and I can say there are definitely Notebook vibes. I mean, it's not a Notebook story at all, like nothing about it is really relatable, but it kind of has that same feeling of sorts of The Notebook. Those are the books that I read in the month of August. I know this was way past due, but I'm putting it out there now. Let me know what you read in the month of August, even though I know it was super long ago, you may have forgotten, or just let me know maybe what your favorite most recent read has been. I'd love to hear about it. Thank you for watching, and happy reading.